Welcome to Oxygen Not Included DLC Spaced Out. My name is Nilos and we are going to do some short tutorials on how to get started with the new Spaced Out DLC. Everything you know from the normal game has been changed and it's not as easy to figure out how to do these changes, and that's what we're going to do here. So initially there will be 4 tutorials and they will be covering some of the 4 main aspects: water, power, food and oxygen. And this is of course recorded in early access, so it might be subject to change. As you can already see, already here the world is different. We have different things. We're starting in a swampy environment, and that's why everything is slightly different in this setup. So we're just going to start the game and we're going to take a look at how it starts. If you like this kind of video, this kind of tutorials, then hit the like button, and also let me know in the comment section below what other kind of tutorials you would like to see about the new game. So this is how you start in the new game. You can see here, things are already looking very different. And the first thing, since we are talking about oxygen in this episode, we should be focusing on that. And as you can see, we start out with a lot of oxygen, but what we're really seeing is immediately the fact that we have a lot of polluted oxygen. We have a lot of polluted things around us. Polluted dirt gives off polluted oxygen. So even though we have some oxalate that gives pure oxygen, they will, for a large extent in the beginning, be dealing with polluted oxygen. There is a new debuff here called Yucky Lungs. It increases the air consumption rate when they are breathing polluted oxygen, and for, I don't know, 2 minutes afterwards by 30%. Plus 30 grams per second. So you're actually having, this is not really a problem in the beginning because you have such an abundance, but as you increase your colony, you really want to convert from polluted oxygen to normal oxygen. I think this is a very good addition because previously, as long as you got rid of slime lung, there was really no reason not to go around breathing polluted oxygen. What we're going to be doing is taking a look at the early game. So instead of starting right from here, we're going to jump forward to about 30 cycles in, and then we're going to look at how we are going to create oxygen in this base. And here we are about 37 cycles in, and we have expanded our base a bit, and this is where we want to take a look at how our base looks like. This is by no means ideal or anything, but it will just help you get started on how it works. What we're seeing here is this is a new engine, a new build. This is called a Sublimation station, and it is absolutely fantastic. It is going to solve all of your needs. Basically what it does, it takes polluted dirt into polluted oxygen and becomes idle when the area reaches maximum pressure capacity. It takes 1,000 grams of polluted dirt and converts into 660 grams of polluted oxygen. Now that's insanely effective, because if we look at our resources here, and polluted dirt, already now we have 126 tons, let's call it 124, and that's multiplied by 0.66. That means we have 80 tons of oxygen just from our polluted dirt. That is insane amount. So basically with this one, you don't really need to worry. What you do need to worry about though is the fact that it outputs polluted oxygen. Yes, we don't care about these warnings. So what I would recommend is to build a setup like this, because it sort of spews it up. It looks at least like it spews it up upwards, and you make some of these. And remember, this is also very important. In the new patch, which I think is a great addition, even though it's slight nerf, you actually need a slight bit of power, 5 watts of power for each deodorizer. I think this is good because I had a tendency just to spam deodorizers everywhere, because why not? Why not indeed? And we just want to get this one up and running so we can see how it actually changes the setup now with just having this one. They can walk past, but you can make it probably cleaner, but I think this setup is really good. You can also put it on the sides. And yeah, well, they're actually so fast that why not just actually just watch them build it in fast. Go. And once these are active, I will also need to scale these up so that they actually bring some filtration medium in. Filtration medium is not something you're actually going to run out of. Let's see. Sand. Also have 51 tons of that already. And this is how it actually works. This is now currently at max gas pressure. But even even more so when you start changing it from polluted oxygen to oxygen, then the pressure will be lower and it's much easier for it to get out here. So as long as you just have one tile with a tiny bit of polluted oxygen, then it can output some polluted oxygen in that tile. And this one is a super good setup. It supports more than 6 dupes as long as you convert it here, or about 5 dupes if you don't convert it, if they're with yucky lungs. So I would highly recommend building just a couple of sublimation stations at strategic locations and surrounding some deodorizers around them, and then you're basically good for oxygen for a very long time. So here is another thing that is added in the new DLC. This is called an oxygen mask station, and it's it doesn't produce oxygen, but it uses oxygen, so I want to group it in here. When you need to breach the surface, you don't have atmosuit at this point, so you're going to need some kind of way that they can breathe out in the open air, open vacuum, and that's where the oxygen mask station comes in. Basically what happens is you put it in somewhere with this oxygen-rich atmosphere. At that location, it starts sucking in oxygen here, like really, really quickly. It sucks in at 500 per second, and it can go up to 60 kilos of oxygen in here. And also on top of that, it needs a bit of metal, so I said cobalt ore here. And what that means is anyone that moves by, it works exactly like a checkpoint. You can see there's a little arrow here, so when they want to move past, okay, it's almost 57.2 kilos, whatever, it's close. And you can see here, these ones are outputting polluted oxygen at a reckless pace, and these 4 deodorizers are just barely keeping up. You can see some polluted oxygen leaks up here, and it actually sucks it a bit. That doesn't matter at all. But I want it to be preferably clean oxygen. But these ones will just easily take care of this. Actually, one of those could take care of it. I built this like here, and what I'm doing is just making sure that this one is just cleaning out, so it's not a high pressure of hydrogen on the outside that leaks in, so that when the door opens, the pressure inside is higher than the pressure outside, and therefore the oxygen leaks out instead of the hydrogen leaks in. That's just why I do this. It's a clean little setup, takes a lot of space on the height, but it works quite well. There's no inputs on this one. This sucks in from the surroundings, so you kind of need to do some kind of airlock thing. I'm doing it this way, so going up here, there isn't a lot of airflow in here. And I think that means when you open this, it doesn't leak out like super fast. I don't know. It can probably be done better, but I don't want to do a waterlock. I don't want to do a waterlock because then they get soggy feet, and I don't want that stress deficit here. So this one works. We need to find someone and actually have them forcefully go to that location. Gareth, that's you. I want you to move to this location. Thank you. Just so we can see how this is actually working. When they go by the oxygen station, hello Gareth, and put on this mask, and there he is. You can see it only fills up a bit. I think the reason is that it illustrates how much the comparative, and then you left an oxygen mask there. It also makes them, get it up there. I don't know where that one can go. I think they should be putting them back in here so they can take him. Doesn't matter. They'll use it, and that will enable them to go up here and build whatever you need outside as well. This one can also obviously be automated when you have some automation, but that's a bit more beyond the early game. So basically, at this point, you have to deal with the yucky lungs, the plus 30% additional oxygen usage. You get a lot of access to polluted oxygen from the sublimation, but you have to convert it with deodorizers, like so. And you can actually sort of mitigate the lack of atmosuit by making an oxygen mask station, and therefore actually be able to let them go outside or get them into locations like deep underground or somewhere where you don't have oxygen. So you don't need to necessarily use it for upstairs with the vacuum, but you can also just, if you want to go outside your base, you can basically make it like you do with atmosuit, like a core, and then go out. But there's less oxygen in an oxygen mask than there is in an oxygen and an atmosuit, so keep that in mind. It's not as good, obviously, since it's early game tech. So there you have it. That actually makes the oxygen management completely manageable. in the new DLC, which I think is really nice. It is of course not self-sustaining because you are going to use dirt, but then again the dirt is so much that it's kind of trivial anyway. What you can, of course, I haven't mentioned the self-powered oxygen module. You can use that. I just don't see a reason for it in this case. It's a lot of infrastructure to build, and you can just build a couple of sublimation stations and then you're good. This one should feed 12 dupes, and yeah, if we just build in the base. So I just really don't think that there's a point to making a to use the self-powered oxygen module for the starter base. Hope you found this to be useful, this little tutorial. If you haven't, then check out the other 3 tutorials on power, water, and food, and then you should be getting started with the new Oxygen Not Included Spaced Out DLC. Thank you for watching. Let's see you guys next time. Until then, take care and stay effective.